First of all, I serve at the pleasure of the President. I am immensely grateful for the opportunity I've had the last 2 years to work every day for the country and for the men and women who serve this country. I don't get up in the morning worried about my job.
Martha, we expect to hear from the President from the Rose Garden shortly after 11 o'clock Eastern. We do not expect him to announce Hagel's replacement at this time.
All right,
Martha?
yeah, that'll be the next discussion, though. No doubt. Names already floating around, as you say. Jennifer, thank you.
For more on this now, Pete Hegseth, CEO of Concerned Veterans for America and a Fox News contributor. Bless you. Pete, how are you? Good morning to you from Minneapolis.
Doing well. Good morning.
You wrote in January of 2013, Hagel was the wrong man at the wrong time. And I respect the opinion you have there, but he was still carrying out and fighting wars based on the schedule and the wishes of his commander-in-chief, and that comes from the president.
Boy, that's exactly right. Secretary Hagel was at the behest of the White House and the National Security Council. He was never fully in control of defense policy, and we know that from inside accounts. But when he was nominated, we were in a time of great flux on the defense side with defense spending and sequestration and gutting of the military. And then in foreign policy, we're supposedly winding down very difficult wars. Well, when things changed and Secretary Hagel, now the Secretary of Defense, was charged with actually confronting threats, his opinions changed. And, you know, the President and Secretary Hagel were buddies when they were both opposed to the Iraq War. Now we see an even more vicious threat. I don't think Secretary Hagel appreciated the way the politicians and the political advisors in the White House were driving that discussion. So that friction was inevitable. And I think right now Hagel is a fall guy for failed policies of this White House.
Well, look, the administration may make a big deal of the fact that he was fired, but it was President Obama who said this is a JV team in ISIS. And it was Chuck Hagel who came out and said ISIS is a problem. We need to face it and deal with it.
That's where I think Sergeant Hagel had a clear-eyed vision of the nature of the enemy and the need to confront them and defeat them. But again, this whole context is colored by a president who is more obsessed with ending and wrapping them up than finishing and defeating enemies properly. And Secretary Hagel, now charged with leading an entire department and not known for being very articulate and much of a visionary. I mean, he hadn't laid out any substantive defense policy or foreign policy before he became secretary. That's why we were very hesitant about who he was. Now he's charged with fighting these wars and leading this Defense Department. How could you, as a Defense Secretary, be okay with the kind of decisions coming out of this White House? That's why you've seen this White House mowing through defense secretaries like, I don't mean to make light of it, but like Eddie Lacy through my Vikings backfield defense yesterday. I mean, he's slicing through them because it's hard to be a serious defense secretary with this White House with so many politically driven decisions straight from the top.
Yeah, maybe over the past 6 months he wanted different decisions made, though, Pete. I mean, that's quite likely. But listen, the president has fired all the generals who have worked for him. Who's going to work for him now, effectively? You've got an extension of the combat duty in Afghanistan for at least another year. That's a complete 180. What happens?
If you're following the trend of the way the White House has gone so far, you're probably going to get a yes man. Someone the left will like, someone that will salute smartly on irresponsible policies that we're right now following vis-a-vis our enemies. So I'm worried about the type of person they would nominate. However, Michelle Flournoy has been very thoughtful and serious, if she is the lead candidate, on both defense issues, the need to reform the Pentagon to streamline it and make it more efficient, but also the nature of some of the enemies we face. This confirmation battle is going to be a very nasty and decisive one. It will set the course for American policy over the next 2 years, and whether or not we deal with so many of the threats in this world seriously. Take Iran as well. When Secretary Hagel came on board, he was very tepid about confronting the Iranian regime and supportive of the negotiations that, in many ways, are giving more and more and more to the Iranians. What will the next defense secretary, what kind of stance will they take? It'll be very telling about the future of this administration.
But with regard to Iran, we already know we're giving them more time, and that's probably exactly what the Iranians want and need, more time. An additional 7 more months, and we'll see what happens when that time is up.
Hey, string it out. It's more time for them to spin the centrifuges.
Thank you, Pete. We've got to run. Got another guest in the hopper here. Pete Hegseth out of Minneapolis. Thank you. Martha.